All right. Hola, hola, hola. Hello, everybody. My name is Tarani Tirado, and welcome to Empowerment Live. Today, my special guest is City Council Sarai Rivera. Hi, Sarai. How are you?
Hey, good, good, good. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited for
Me
our
too.
interview.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all these amazing things that you're doing in the community. And yeah, so let's just dive right into the questions. For the people that don't know you, I know there's a lot of people that know you, and then there's some people that may not know
Of
you.
course.
So for the people that don't know you, tell them what do you do? Who is Sarai?
I guess it depends what hat. So first I want to just say thank you. And I'm all about like women empowerment. So I really, appreciate you having this platform. And so I just wanted to give you a shout out. And so I love to see what you're doing and doing your thing and just being on the glow up. I love it. Just want to give you some props.
Thank you.
Which is why, like, let me tell you, I cherish my Saturday mornings, which is why, like, to me, like, they were like, oh, Counselor, you want me to change it? We're like, no, I'm gonna keep it because this is all about support. So really want to just say how much I appreciate what you're doing and you in this community. Um,
Thank
I
you.
guess I wear kind of many hats, hence the hat today. Um, which is a great thing. I think for me, as a woman of faith, I believe in kind of having like different aspects of who I am in the sense of the creator in me. So really looking at, I'm Sarai Rivera. People know me mainly for city council, but people who know me from a long time know me um, as someone who's been part of this Worcester community for a long time. Um, number one, my number one role is I'm a mom, and I love being a mom, and I'm actually now a grandmother. So my husband and I are an empty nester, and we're enjoying grandchildren now and kind of the adult stage of our children.
Oh,
And I started doing work in the early 80s in my professional realm as a clinical therapist in the human service realm. I
good.
got I got my master's degree from University of Connecticut as an MSW and started working. And that was a big kind of like when I got my undergraduate degree and started doing like casework and human services. And then when I got my graduate degree, I was definitely working in the sense of like, especially working with really marginalized population. I was working with people with major mental illness coming out of, that was during the time, I'm going to date myself, during what was called deinstitutionalizations, that we were closing down the mental health kind of asylums, right?
Yeah.
And creating this community mental health process, which unfortunately never really gave underway fully. And unfortunately, we now are incarcerating our people who are ill. That's another conversation, another interview. I also worked during the HIV and AIDS epidemic, which was really telling. So really began to see so much injustice in marginalized populations, and that led from kind of like doing service to being more active and being more of a advocate and activated voice um, for communities that were just seeing this level of marginalization. And then I became an ordained minister. I'm third generation ordained minister in my family. People think that I'm that because my husband's ordained. No, we actually got ordained at the same time. I'm third generation. My husband happens to be third generation too, just the irony. Um, and I really felt the calling of loving, understanding this concept of the greatest commandment, which was loving my neighbor. It was in my business, like who my neighbor was, what my neighbor was doing, um, who my neighbor was with. My command was to love my neighbor. And how was I doing that? How was I activating this love? And that love needed to be more than just words, but concrete acts. And for me, that was really understanding. So beginning to really continue to have this like social justice. Went to get my doctorate degree, and I did it in what's called urban ministry, which is a combination of like urban studies and theology, and really activating how to work in urban communities, and really felt like to really be I wanted to be part of a church that was really solidly active in the love of Christ, and especially in social justice. If I have somewhere to eat, someone should have somewhere to eat. If I have somewhere to sleep, someone should have somewhere to sleep. If I have
Mhm.
certain privileges, other people should have those privileges, just understanding that. which then led me to run for city council, which was definitely not anything I wanted to do. And I actually gave up a lot to do it. People think it's something you just want to do. I kind of came kicking and screaming, to be honest.
Mhm.
Um, but at the time came and I was the first Latina ever elected. When I was elected in 2011, I was the only person of color in our whole governmental delegation. So out of like 10 city councilors, 6 school committees, um, looking at 5 state reps, 2 state senates, two federal senates, and then Congress, everybody was white. I was the only person of color in our whole
Wow.
governmental delegation. So you walk through City Hall, there wasn't many people that looked like me that, and if everybody that looked like me, they were mainly cleaning the bathrooms. Nothing wrong with cleaning the bathroom, with mad respect, right? But it was like there was no one in this level of like position. And
Mhm.
so that was also something that began to just tug at my heart. And I wanted to make sure that as I governed, I wanted to make sure that I opened that platform for people that look like me. Um, and I'm really glad. I mean, if you look at the council today, where there's 5 of us, 2 Black men, myself, Latina, Etel, who is a foreign-born, who was a refugee from Albania, and two, who happens to be a refugee, non-binary. And
Mhm.
when you think about that, and even school committee really having two, 1 Black woman and 1 Black male, really, really is powerful. And then looking at our city manager, our commissioner of public health, our director of youth, all Latino person, people of color, Janice Weeks, who's been there forever and working, doing all this like workforce development work. So some like really amazing people doing some stuff, and
Nice,
really,
nice.
yeah, that's a little bit in a nutshell.
I love it. Yeah, that's awesome. I was reading that, yeah, about your psychology background, and we have that in common because that's what my undergrad was psychology, and my grad was in education. But
Awesome.
yeah, so and I read that, I'm like, oh my God, like it's like this connection.
Yeah, definitely.
And I do see you're also doing charities, and
Yeah, that's a
you
big
do a
thing for
lot.
me. Yeah,
That
I
was
do
like a snippet
international
of
work.
what you do.
Yeah, I created this project called Project Love, and it's a global partnership. I don't call it missionary work or anything like that because it's not one-sided. I get some, it's definitely a give and take collaboration. I learn from them just as much as they learn from me. Um, One of the latest thing I just came from Burundi and Rwanda, doing what's called the Sister Project, which is bringing, combating period poverty in countries that are really struggling. And Burundi is one of the poorest countries in the world, and a lot of people know Rwanda, and Rwanda is developing really, really well because of the genocide. But Burundi and Rwanda were sister countries. They went through the same genocide at the same time, but nobody really talks about Burundi. So um,
Yeah,
doing some just work there, trying to bring seed in some resources for sustainable. So a lot of what we're doing is sustainable projects. Just came from Puerto Rico, which got to see some folks up in Orocovi and kind of the damage that Fiona did, and trying to keep that conversation of what Puerto Rico is going through right now. And Puerto Rico
mhm,
has been going through a lot, through the economy, through the storm, through the
mhm.
governmental kind of upheaval that it's had. And there's a huge struggle, and there's a lot of injustice that Puerto Rico is struggling through. The Jones Act, the real estate. I know you can definitely appreciate that. The
Yeah.
unfairness of what's happening on property, buying up there. So
Oh
trying to
yeah,
bring
the
some attention to that. Yeah.
the real estate. When I was down there last year, I was able to spend 6 months on the island, and I saw how affected the real estate was, and so many abandoned properties.
Crazy.
It was insane. Like, I just
Yeah.
couldn't believe. I'm like, "Oh my God, look at all these properties, they're abandoned."
Mm-hmm.
And, when I did the research, a lot of it, is just, the process of, it's a combination of, people moving here because of all the hurricanes and
Mm-hmm.
all the issues that Puerto Rico has in the politics. But then it's also, people have inherited properties, but it's very difficult for them to even claim the properties
Yes. Oh,
because of
yes.
all the systems are just so dated.
It's crazy.
It's insane. And
Yeah.
I remember when I was there, even just to like get a driver's license or just,
Mm-hmm.
there was some medical, I wanted to get medical insurance, and just to get a couple things, it was such a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing digital. Everything is like back in 1970s.
It's crazy.
It's so crazy. But I definitely stay supporting Puerto Rico. That's my homeland, where I was born, and I love that you go back and you're still trying to
Mm-hmm.
support them as well. And our Puerto Ricans here that have moved. A lot of Puerto Ricans have moved here.
Yes.
Um, so definitely. And I know that you do a lot of work in our community in Worcester. And, I just want to say thank you for
Oh, thank
everything. I've
you.
lived in Worcester since 1995, and, I've seen the growth.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, from 1995 to now,
Oh God, yeah.
it was like, I remember where St. Vincent's Hospital is, used to be a
Yes.
pile of dirt.
Yes, I
You remember
know.
that? It was a big pile
Yes.
of
Oh
dirt.
Lord, yeah.
But it's people like you that take the initiative. Sometimes people think you have to be a celebrity to make an impact
Mm-hmm.
or a difference, and it's like, no, it's like normal, like we're all normal.
Exactly.
We're all
It's the
people.
everyday person. I agree. I mean, I have like so many stories of like the everyday person that just is doing something in our community. And it just takes you having a heart and the desire to do something and be a part of something. And you don't have, I always tell people, you don't have to do it all. You just have to do something. You
Yeah,
just do something.
exactly,
Yeah.
just something, and
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
yeah, I agree. So you're very passionate about giving. You're very passionate about representing, women and men and people
Mm-hmm.
of color, in our community and globally as well.
Yes.
Um, how I'm sure you face obstacles and
Oh
challenges.
Lord.
You
How long we
know,
got?
how do you overcome the pushback? Because I mean, to be the one person at the beginning of color,
Mm-hmm.
I've been in rooms where I've been the only Latina,
Mm-hmm.
and
Exactly.
it's been intimidating for me, but I still
Mm-hmm.
stand tall and proud, and I
Exactly.
represent. But I see the eyes, they look at
Mm-hmm.
you different, or you get pushback, things like that. How do you overcome all of these challenges?
I mean, I think for me is understanding, really who I am and not backing down from that, right? Like I don't let anybody define me. And I think that that's a great thing about kind of like being a person of faith. And then also it comes with wisdom with age. That the older you get, the more comfortable you get with who you are, and who you've becoming and who you continue to be. And I think being confident, right, that I'm coming in with an open heart, and that, yeah, the pushback comes, but like you can't, I didn't have an option to quit, right, because the option to quit meant that it was going to affect not only my life but people just like me, and my children, and now my grandchildren. And for me, like, I want so desperately to fight fights that they don't have to fight, right? I want to have
Mhm.
this, I want to do struggles that they don't have to struggle. And I want to pave that way so they can run, and not have to trip over like all the different stones I had to trip over. And I think that that's if you're true with what you're doing, I think it's really important. And I think challenging archaic policies, challenging the way things, the status quo, and having difficult conversations and not shying away from difficult conversations, and pushing people to have difficult conversations. Sometimes you have to you do it always with love, and sometimes it's done in the feed you at the table kind of way, and sometimes it's the turntable kind of way, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
just the way it is. And either way, sometimes it's still both Jesus. People always want to like talk about where's the love. Yeah, that's still love Jesus. I'm gonna be the loving Jesus on the table, right? As I'm feeding you, washing your feet, and
Yeah.
then I'll be the Jesus that's also going to turn the table when I need to.
Yeah.
Um, So I think that's really important, understanding that balance. I think for me, one of the biggest things was being a bridge builder. So bringing communities together, that once I was in kind of this world, bringing people kind of in different worlds and communities, and trying to connect them together, they
Yeah,
normally wouldn't. And I was the common denominator.
exactly.
I was part of this like political world that a lot of people have been disconnected from.
Hmm.
um and so bringing that together and bringing people was really important for me.
I
And I
love
think that
that.
that's one of the things I'm most proud of.
Yeah, I love that. I always like to tell people that you have access, each and every one of us has access to certain people
Exactly.
that only we have access to. And
Yeah.
that's, you're in a position of power, a position where, you can
Mm-hmm.
represent, your voice can be heard, and you have access to these people that not everybody can access.
Exactly.
It's a powerful thing for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Um, if you were to meet your younger self and think of a specific age or time period in
Mm-hmm.
your life, um, and you can go back to that younger self, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, that's so funny. Because I had to do a commencement speech for a high school, and I kind of went back to my graduation day and talking to myself on that day. And I was letting that person know all the challenges that they were going to face, but also all the great things, right?
Mhm.
um and I mean, and it was a really challenging time for me. I had just lost my best friend to an overdose. And that was something we didn't really talk about, right? That wasn't
Mm.
something that was talked about then. I graduated in 1980, and I don't know nobody's business. But I think, also, I went to college at a time that a lot of people that look like me weren't in college. And also, my brother and my mother became very very ill, and my dad during that time. So it's just a really traumatic and challenging time. And but at the same time, many blessings. And so knowing that I don't think we live peaks and valleys. I've learned that we don't live on peaks and valleys. We live on this like parallel road, that we go through these difficulties, but at the same time, there's so much that I learned from this amazing woman that was my mother, that I lost shortly after, or that I got to meet my husband within a year, like a year or so. I thought I knew what my mate was gonna be, and he was completely opposite of anything I was like saying I was gonna do. Right, like
Yeah.
this was what I was like. I was really determined since very young, and so telling myself, make sure and give that man a chance. And that um and and I was really one of the fortunate people on this earth that found love right away, and we've been together 34 years.
Nice.
And he's still the love of my
Congratulations.
life, and I find myself really blessed by that I actually got to experience this amazing love in my life.
Yeah.
um, and built the family and all the things. So I mean, I think I would go back to say, like, you're gonna go through like hell and back, but you're also going to go through some amazing experiences, and life is a parallel. And with each journey,
Mhm.
with each step, you're just going to learn. But just like buckle
Yeah.
up, because you're just amazing. Because you're never going to believe where you're going to be. Because remember, girls like me weren't in any. I mean, I didn't have teachers of color. I didn't have anybody in leader. Like there was no way I ever thought I'd be where I am today. That I'd have. Um, I knew I'd have an education, because I was very educated minded, but I didn't think I'd be where I am today. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. You know, and I know you post sometimes online, and I know that you've had some loss.
Hmm.
You mentioned your loss. I'm sorry for your losses.
Thank you.
Um, and and I see how you get back up. Like, you
Mhm,
have these losses, and you don't quit on yourself, and you don't quit on the community, and you don't quit
mhm.
on anything. You just like go harder.
Yeah.
That's so inspiring, because on the other end, I'm like, oh my God, she just had this huge loss, and
Mhm,
she's back, preaching. She's back pouring into the community, and
mhm,
she's, doing, I know you do your videos online
mhm.
where you're sharing scriptures and empowerment. And
Yeah,
it's like, oh my God, like you lose and you go straight to giving, you
yeah.
know? How do you do that?
God says that He's close to those who are brokenhearted, and one of the things that I learned, I've learned a lot in the last couple years. Losing my son, forgive me if I get emotional, is a really tough time because his anniversary is coming up.
Oh, so,
I've had like significant like losses in my life, but this was probably what broke me. Really, really put me in a situation. And I think throughout my life, I always was this, strong woman. And if you talk to my family, they are very fascinated with like a strong women role on TV, and they're like, "There's mama," like it's like this kind of persona, and I am. And I had to learn that. And I think knowing, like, not really being able to like expose those emotions, and I'm, even though I'm a clinician, like I'm open emotions, but I'm very close to other people with letting them see those emotions,
mhm,
because I had to be strong for this, for that, for this situation, and I learned to be what I call the wounded warrior. And I had to learn that even though I was wounded, it didn't stop me from being a warrior, right? A wounded warrior is still a warrior. But I
yeah.
had to recognize my wounds, I had to recognize my pain.
Mhm,
Um, and for the first time, I began to be very open about my pain because I felt that maybe through sharing that, I can help somebody else that's going through that pain. I needed to find purpose in this pain,
mhm,
um, which my husband and I have, and for my family. And I think, I I have struggles. Like I struggle. I ain't gonna lie. There's days that I don't want to get out of bed. There are
mhm,
days I just wish, I could blink and a couple days could go by. Right. I was telling my husband the other day, I wish I could blink and it's January 2nd because I don't know how I'm gonna face this year being here. It was the first time that we're here in the country since our earthly separation from our son, and so I think I held on to God because I felt that if I didn't, I would just this was going to destroy me. And I wanted to make sure that as the warrior that I feel that I am, that I, even though I was injured and I'm still injured and I'm still healing, it doesn't take away who I am.
mhm, mhm,
And I find purpose, and I want to create a space where I can honor my son. And so
mhm,
I'm going to be doing that. I'm very close to his family, and we're doing some work in Guatemala. And here, my husband and I, it's actually the first time I'm saying this publicly. So you get the scoop. But my husband and I are opening a house. We're calling it Zach's house, and we're still playing with a name in Quiche, where we'll be working. It'll be a very small rooming house. We've already purchased the property and are renovating, and we'll be able to rent rooms at a good rate to young men that were once refugee, immigrant, or asylum seekers, to have a really good quality place to live that they can look and be feel proud like home. I don't think there's any rooming house like it.
mhm,
We're still in the process of going to be applying for our rooming house license. It's going to be small for like 5 people,
mhm,
but it's a beautiful old colonial. And we want to be kind of extended house parents. We want to be able to go there and cook dinner. That even though they're living independently, and many of them don't have families here because
mhm,
they're aging out of the system or whatever, that they can find my sons can be a mentor to them. They've been through their situation. We want to be able to just go and cook dinner um, with them if they want to seek education, they want to do, um, work, whatever it is, but kind of just really help and love on them, right? And be an extended
mhm.
part of their family, hopefully. And so that's actually a legacy that we're trying to create right here in our city.
Wow, that's so
And then,
powerful.
yeah, and so I'm really excited. And so we'll hopefully be doing that. We're renovating now, things are moving quickly. So I'm hoping by spring of
Nice.
next year, early
Oh, I'm
spring,
looking forward to seeing that.
we'll be able to inaugurate the house.
Oh, I'm so happy that you're doing that.
Yeah.
I come from the clinical space as well, and I worked in group homes.
Hmm.
And I know you mentioned, when the change happened of the state hospitals being shut down and all
Hmm.
these things.
Yeah.
A lot of people were put into group homes, and
Hmm.
I was working in group homes for mental illness, and I was
Yeah.
working in group homes for addiction in Worcester. So most of my career from the age of 18 till my 30s, I was working in group homes, and I saw the impact that
Hmm.
just having a home, you
Yeah.
know, did for the people in our community, because otherwise they would have to be in a shelter or in a state hospital.
Yeah. And right now it's so expensive. Like it's really, really expensive. So a lot of places that's affordable are, let's be honest, like they're just, it's trash, right? Like
Mhm.
and I want to be able to kind of have a place that they can rent. Like it's about them becoming independent, but almost
Yeah,
like, um, creating a really nice space that they could walk in and be like, hey, I live here. I rent a room here, but it's
exactly.
it's like really nice. So I'm hoping my husband and I are gonna be working to try to see if we get like sponsorship for people to like want to furnish a room. Um, like want to create a room so that'll be kind of move-in ready for people, because most of
Uh,
them may not have the money to kind of buy a bed set or like a bedroom like furniture and stuff. We're going to be furnishing the house, and then it's up to them to kind of furnish their room. But at the
mhm.
same time, if we can try to we're thinking of trying to get like, like getting a corporate to say, okay, this is a room that was furnished by such and such company, or or this organization or this group of people, and
Yeah.
being able to have like basically a bed set up. It's not even going to cost that much. So I could probably like, you could
Oh,
do it
yeah,
like,
it's
you could
not.
definitely do it under like 1,500. Like it's not even going to be over 2,000 like per
Yeah.
room per se. And that's I think on the high end, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so I mean, when you think about it, so I want to be able to kind of just, so when they walk in, and because a lot of, unfortunately, we don't have that kind of like rooming house style that's affordable for people, to be honest. And never
Exactly.
mind young people and young men of color,
Mhm.
that don't have like family support. My kids can, during COVID, for example, when they all had to leave college, I went from empty nester to all of a sudden I had like 6 boys back in my house. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, what happened up in here? Um, and But they were able to come home. What happens when you have unaccompanied minors who, I mean, people who came as unaccompanied minors that do not have their family here. So I want to
Yeah.
be able to provide that home. And it's like they're going to be looking for a rental. They're going to be looking for a rental, but
Mhm.
they'll be able to have a high quality rental. So I'm talking to some of the organizations as they're looking. They're always kind of scrounging and looking to place people that are aging out and are trying to become independent and so on and so forth. So we
Nice.
want to kind of be that space.
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be really amazing. And that's a great way to, honor your son and, keep his memory alive. And just,
Hmm.
it's awesome that you're doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And if you knew Zach, like that would have been like his thing. He was really, really
yeah.
giving, to a fault, and really loving. He was also a pain in the ass many times. I'm like, where's my avocado? I always knew, man, Zach came by the house because he ate my damn avocado. And then he come and try to be cute, bringing me 2 avocados. Look what I brought you. Bro, you brought me those 2 avocados because you ate mine. That was nice and right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he'd be like, yeah, it was good, whatever. Like I just,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and he was stubborn, but he was also just really super loving, and he was also very giving. And so I want to be able to kind of like bring the essence of my Zach, of our Zach, into
Nice.
that house.
So my next question for you is, do you have a favorite quote that you can share? And what has this quote done for you in your life?
Man, I have so many, but I guess if I were to one that I repeat often is actually the verse of Matthew 5:11 and 12, because it's like, um, blessed are you when you're persecuted, when they lie on you, when they talk about you, when they lie on you, but then you're blessed, right? Because that's the same that, the people before you, that's what happened to them before you. And so you're just living in those footsteps. So really understanding that every time somebody comes up with some false allegations, some lie, the deal,
Yeah.
some crazy story or whatever, that I'm just blessed. I'm
Yeah.
like, thank you for blessing me. And so
Mhm.
what was supposed to break me really blessed me.
Yeah.
Right. And so
I
that's what I stand on, that I think for my own, I've created that quote out of that verse to say
mhm.
what you meant to break me actually blessed me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's
and
powerful. That's
yeah.
powerful. And while we're talking about that, I know that when I had my first negative media
Hmm.
article posted,
Hmm.
you were like the first person that reached out to me, and
Hmm.
in the middle of me like falling apart, I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh
yeah, people don't
my God, I can't
know.
believe
Yeah.
someone did this." And your words were so comforting at that moment, like
Hmm.
when I was literally like falling apart.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It
because
hurts, people say, but words do hurt.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And when someone writes something negative about you that is not you, it's not true, and they take the good things that you're doing and
Hmm.
somehow they twist
Oh,
it.
girl, they twist it. Yeah. Hmm.
Somehow, like I didn't even know that was possible.
I know.
But
Welcome to my world.
you told me that you're like, do not let this stop you. And,
Yeah.
this has happened to me and this exact
Yeah.
person has written about me. And it's like, and you were just so encouraging. You were like, do not let this
Hmm.
stop you. You keep doing what you're doing. And I just want to thank you for that because to this day, like your words stayed in my head. And it took me a minute to compose myself and
Yeah.
come back from it. But your encouragement, like it meant the world to me. I just want
And
you to
look where you are today, right? Like it's amazing. And your platform has grown where others have diminished. Wah, wah, I mean, it's
know.
just the way it is. And that's like what and it's hard, I'm not gonna fake the funk that it's not hard, but you gotta be able to just kind of like wipe your tears and keep it going, because then when you don't, you give validity to what they're saying. And the reality is that there's no validation, and it's unfortunate. And for those that want to believe it, well, to me, they're doing us a favor because it filters the fake. I call it filtering the
Yes.
fake. Because if you believe those things, you were
Yeah.
never on my side. Because if you know me, somebody that knows you
Yes.
knows what to believe. You know what I'm saying? Like I reached out to you directly because I
Yes.
saw who you were. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that helps you. I was like, thank God, because if you have to question, if I have to explain myself to you,
Mm-hmm.
then you fake. And I just
Exactly.
filtered the fake. Bye. Bye. I
Yes.
don't need fakeness in my life. I need the real and the loyal. I need the
Yes.
ones that are going to be ride or die, going to be with me at all times, in the good and the bad. Nobody wants
Yes.
the fakeness.
Amen.
So those people be like, they do you a favor because they filtered not only do they come and bless you with what they tried to break you, but it filters the fakeness right out. So now you know who's who,
Yeah.
and you could just wipe it along.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they do you a favor in many ways, and they try to blow you up, and what they don't do is that you just glow through the whole thing and you begin to see who you really are.
Yeah.
And I think I mean, and I'm really glad that you didn't give up, and that your platform has grown, and you out there, helping people, trying to build generational wealth, what I'm a big believer in.
Yeah.
And just supporting, empowering, encouraging, and that's what it's
Yeah.
about. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's definitely something that it took me a minute. It was my first
Mm,
time someone
yeah, of
writing
course.
something bad. So I didn't know how to handle it. But so it took me a minute, but I had your encouragement and I had encouragement from, my family, and
Hmm.
that was my husband. And, it was definitely a challenging period to go through, but
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'm going to come back. And when I come back, I am going to come back so hard, like
Hmm.
just so hard.
Girl, and you did, girl, you did.
I was like, I'm coming back so hard. They have no idea. Keep
Yeah.
throwing the rocks, like keep
Yeah.
throwing them, because I'm just going to build an empire with it. And,
Hmm.
and you're right. Like I learned during that time, it was a good lesson because I learned that there was people around me, certain people, some people here and there, that I was not aware that were actually fake people, and
Hmm.
that were
Exactly.
I had no clue, no clue
Yeah, you thinking that
until
you're ride or die.
yeah,
And
until this
they were like
happened.
ride
And
and die and buy.
exactly. And I was like, wow, this is alarming, but I'm
Hmm.
glad because I only want to be surrounded by people that actually love me and support me and are genuine. And I need to weed out people that are just,
Yeah, 100%.
you know so now I know better. I learned from it, and you learn from the challenges, you learn
You
from the
do.
hits. So
You
I'm
do.
grateful that happened because now I know who to associate with, who not
a
to.
hundred
And
percent. Me too.
anytime anyone brings it up, it was someone did bring it up to me recently. And I'm of the mind, it's like, if you believe that, then we are not aligned, you know?
Yeah,
And
for real.
that's it.
Like, do you not know me? Like, and if you gotta explain yourself
Exactly.
at this
Yeah.
point, like with everything you've done, if you still have to explain yourself,
Yeah.
no, I don't know. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
that's
with you,
where I'm at.
girl.
I'm like, no, no,
Hmm.
no explaining. I am who I am. You should know me by now. And
Hmm.
if you don't, then it you just don't.
Yep. Yeah, for real. That's right. And
You know?
that's too bad for you because you just missed out on somebody that would have been really good for your life. But that's on you.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. That's how I feel it. I say, at the end of the day, I know who I am. I'm 100% certain on who I am, what my values are, what I stand for, what my beliefs are, what my faith is.
Hmm.
Like I know myself really well. At this point, I'm 36 years old. If I was 20, I probably wouldn't know myself very well, but
Hmm.
at 36, I know exactly who I am and I don't need anyone's validation.
Exactly.
And I just keep doing me. I keep pouring into the
Hmm.
community
Girl,
and
wait till you turn 50. It's
you know,
liberating.
I'm sure at your
Liberating.
age, I can't wait for
Oh,
that.
like take this feeling and multiply it. Like I mean, it really, you really sit back, be like, I'm like, I don't get peace out. Like I really know.
Yeah.
It's, oh my God, liberating.
Yeah, yeah,
Love
it's
it.
so freeing. I think
Yeah.
after that happened, I felt so free. Like
Mm-hmm.
I felt, like this new version of me became unlocked. And now it's like, you know what? I'm going to be exactly who I want to be. And it doesn't matter what
Mm-hmm.
any article or anything or anybody says. If I know that I'm centered and I'm connected to God and I'm doing God's work, that's it. That's like all that leads me.
And the
So
reality is, it validates that what we're doing is doing something right because nobody's breaking into an abandoned house to rob it. Ain't no one
yeah,
trying to break, ain't no one trying to steal some jacked up, broken duct tape jalopy, right?
yes,
So you gotta be something of value that they keep trying to come after.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, thank you for continuing to validate what I'm doing. That's
What
what
I'm
gotta be said.
doing.
Thank you for continuing to validate what I'm doing. Because
Yeah,
you wouldn't come after me as hard as you are, if I wasn't doing something um that's changing, that's life altering, that's
mhm,
impacting, that's building, because you want to be, I'm not the breaker, I'm the builder, right? And so if
yes,
you want to be the breaker, and so obviously you're trying to break something, that means I'm building, and I'm building
mhm,
strong. And so that's the thing, you got your builders and you got your breakers. And so it's
yeah,
just kind of that becomes the issue. And it just, to me, every time somebody comes up there, it becomes a level of like validation.
yeah, yeah. um, are there any um let's see. I have two more questions for you. How do you achieve your goals?
I want to make sure that my goal is aligned. Sorry, someone's dropping off something for an event that I'm doing for not an event that I'm just doing, but community. And
No problem.
sorry about
So
that.
yeah, yeah, no, no, go ahead and do that.
Apologize. Would be like, live TV, right? Like,
No,
this is
no.
what's live. And did you see that there's always something, they're dropping off diapers and stuff that I need. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
somebody outside that they're dropping off diapers. You just let them know that I'm still on the interview. I apologize. I can't greet them myself. Just one of the guys is calling it. Yeah. Just told one of the guys or one of the guys to get it for me. All right. Thanks. Bye. Now you get to see live that it's always a nonstop.
Yes, yes. No, I know. Um, you're always on the go, and I know you're always,
Yeah, no, sorry about that.
sometimes
We're
you're
trying to, someone's
it,
dropping off some diapers and some food that we've been working with the Haitian the asylum seekers here in the community that are the major homeless families that are in a hotel. So
nice.
there's a group of people, there's an amazing group of people that have been doing really great work. So
Um,
yeah, go back to your question. I'm sorry. How do I
yeah,
meet my
so
goals?
so how do you reach your goals?
I think, for me, is trying to stay, for me, again, I go back to being a woman of faith. I try to stay what's alignment, knowing that everything happens in seasons, that there's times where you're going through different seasons of life. And I've learned to kind of understand that and navigate that. So staying, really focused and trying to make sure that I'm within the will of God, right? That to me, when he says that I have a plan for you, that he knew me before I was even formed in my mother's womb. I want to make sure that I'm walking in that divine purpose and destiny, and that road has many aspects and stages, and making sure that I am where I am at the time that I'm supposed to be. So not missing my timing, and not missing the season. And so I take time to reflect. I take time regularly to kind of
Mm,
sit down as to where I am, what I'm doing. If I find that I'm too busy, like if I find that things are like you're always you're juggling a lot, the ball's gonna drop, and you got to learn to accept that, right? There's gonna be something. But if it's affecting too much of life, then I go back and I take a sit back and I say, okay, what belongs and what doesn't belong? What is this season and what was past season, or what's maybe in the future and not right now? So um I do a lot of like introspection, meditation, and obviously prayer, dialogue with my creator to make sure that I'm in alignment where I'm supposed to be at the present time.
I love
Begin to kind of set
that.
those goals and stay focused on, what those goals are. And understanding that there's going to be obstacles for those. But I'm a person that I've always been very goal driven. Like I've always kind of been a visionary, and I've looked to where I want to be in life. Um, and haven't allowed anything to stop me for that, because there's things that I want to see, things that I
Right,
wanted to see for my children, um, that I've been really blessed to see as well. And so, I
nice.
mean, staying focused, and whenever there's an obstacle, then you got to be able to say, okay, don't lose focus on the goal, right? Like it's kind of like, I did a Monday motivation on that. When you're a runner, and the Apostle Paul did a lot of analogies on running, is you have to stay focused. If not, you can trip, you can go, you got to stay focused on that goal.
Yeah.
And there's so many things. If you look back, if you look down, if you get distracted, if there's anything could slow you down for that split second, that could have you lose
Hmm.
from reaching
Hmm.
that goal. So I think for me
Absolutely.
is trying to remain focused, being reflective, and knowing what's your season. And I think a lot of us, we miss that. We don't know,
Hmm.
like that there's some things that from our seasons past we have to let go of, and there's
Yes.
things that are from our future that we haven't reached yet, and so we can't rush to it.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
understanding and appreciating and seeing the season you are right now, and appreciating it, right? That you may not have gotten to where you want to be yet, but you're not where you used to be, and
Hmm.
you are where you're supposed to be at the present time. I have a son who's very goal driven, very business oriented, and he's always like, and I said, listen, think about where you are right now at your age. It's amazing, right? And I'm always encouraging, enjoy where you are right now, focus where you are right now, and know that, yeah, you'll get there, but that might be in the future, because I don't want him to live when we don't do that, we
Yeah.
live in this constant level of disappointment,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
live in this, oh, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. Think about what you've done and what you're doing,
Yeah.
right? And then analyze, if there's something you could be doing more, then you work on it. Then you work on it and you set that. So being
Yeah.
really reflective and understanding that for everything there is a season, like the book of Ecclesiastes says, um, and understanding when seasons are over and seasons are beginning. Really, really important
Absolutely.
aspect. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. That's a great message, especially as we're, going to be starting 2023.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good message for people to have
Yeah.
in mind for sure. Um, and then my last question for you was, I know you have projects and things that you're doing. This is actually, thank you. I bought these from Crafts for a Cause, right?
Thank you. Thank you so much for
They're
plugging it in. I
so
appreciate it.
beautiful, you guys. I love it. I love
Thank
that you,
you. That
you
was
know,
handmade in Bujumbura, Burundi.
they're so beautiful. I love
Yeah.
the necklace, and I support, like I love what you're doing and
Yeah. It's
supporting.
one of my proud babies, definitely. And when I launched it in 2019, Then the pandemic hit. And it was just a way to really support the work that I was doing. Not only is it fair trade that it supports the economy where I am, but 100% of the proceeds, you can only get charity so far. So just trying to be creative in ways that I can raise money to support some of the work that I'm doing in our global partnership. And then after, the pandemic hit and then everything happened, I'm in my family, and then I was recovering from cancer. Cancer free now.
Nice.
So
Amen.
yeah,
God is
amen.
good.
And and then relaunched it in October. When I was going to relaunch it, decided to do this pop-up for Puerto Rico as well, and kind of create a space for other vendors. But yeah, Craft for a Cause is definitely a baby for me.
I love it.
And
Follow.
I'm
So you
yeah.
guys follow Craft for a Cause on Facebook,
Yeah,
right?
Craft for a Cause and Compassion Coffee. Please follow. We just relaunched, and we're trying to get 1,000 followers by the end of this month. And we're
Nice.
open today. I didn't open because I did a major craft fair yesterday, so we have to kind of restock the store, and so we didn't have. I didn't have the space, but we'll be open, and then a lot of the stuff is done on social media, online, and we're just going to be right now. I'm just going to be enhancing, and that's going to be a major project for me in the new year. So I'm hoping I get the support from the
Nice.
community.
Of course. Yeah. And any other projects that you want the community to know about?
Yeah, I mean, I think really right now, just a couple things. I think in my hat as city council is to make sure that we're just paying attention to what's happening in our community and stay alert. Think about what you care for, and that there are people making decisions for you every day, one way or another, for you, for your family, for your kids, as they're making policies in the city and in school. So get involved. You don't have to get involved in everything, but get involved in something. And so understanding you have a space in boards and commissions, neighborhood groups, different initiatives, different projects that are happening in the city. There's always something you can do. And so I really want to encourage someone to be part of this amazing community that we call home. Um, I was really excited to be one of the founders of Worcester Together, and so that we meet every other Thursday via Zoom. And that's a great opportunity to kind of get involved and know what's happening within the city. As my role as a minister, and as in working internationally, um, I hope that people come out and support, and like what we're doing regarding bringing awareness to Puerto Rico and bringing awareness to what's happening throughout the world right now. Haiti is really struggling. I don't think people realize how bad Haiti is. I've been traveling to Haiti for close to 20 years. Um, and there's no government right now. It's a really bad situation. It's probably the worst I've seen it. And I have
Mm.
not been able to travel back. The night that I was actually traveling back, there was a bombing in the airport, one of the planes that was
Oh,
bringing in
wow.
missionaries. So we definitely had to be rerouted. We couldn't go in. So just really keep in mind, and then here in our city, where we're receiving many people who are undocumented, and be leery of our language and what we use. No one is illegal. So there's always ways to get involved. If you want to, just please reach out to me. There's always some which way that you can get involved. And then really supporting some of the work that we're doing. And one of the ways is, like, who doesn't want to buy nice things? Like, come and support Craft for a Cause. Take a look at us on social media. Um,
Yeah.
and also we'll be starting our sister project campaign again, where we're getting a group together. And our sister project is really looking at combating period poverty. And we train women, indigenous women from that neighborhood, that community, leaders. And we bring supplies, mainly menstrual cup. Each menstrual cup could be close to $10. We've been able to purchase some a little cheaper. So our goal is actually to raise 2,000 this year, to raise 2,000 cups, and set up sister project clinics in Uganda and in Kenya.
Wow.
So come probably January, February, you'll be seeing some things on the sister project. We've had some people do some work, so we have a great opportunity to raise 2,000 of the menstrual cups that we could actually establish, along with other items that we'll need to establish, and then go and be able to train trainers. And it's exciting to see, if you get to see some of the videos, them going into very remote villages, and they're doing the training themselves. And it's awesome. It's awesome to see these leaders. And we're talking
Wow.
about women, our bodies, sexuality, which is really important. Nobody talks about
Mhm.
that, right? And so I go
Mhm.
in as a leader, as a spiritual leader, going into churches, community centers, all sorts of places, talking about reproduction, vagina, all sorts of stuff. And they're like, whoa, but
Making waves.
yeah, but it's so liberating. And so, please keep your eye out for that. And I'm going to be really looking for some support. I mean, you think about when you go out, even McDonald's, you easily could spend $10, $15 at McDonald's. Whatever
Yeah.
happened,
Mhm.
um, and to think that probably $15 will be able to get 4 to 5 menstrual cups into the hands of women that will last up to 10 years. Both better
Wow.
for the environment and eco-friendly and economic friendly. So
Nice.
definitely.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, there's so many projects that you're working on, and I love it. Thank you for sharing those. And you guys stay up to date with Sarai on Facebook, and I think you're on Instagram as well. Um,
Yes, I'm trying to get my Instagram up and going a little better.
it's a work in progress.
I
Goals
know
for
I'm trying to get all these like
2023.
platforms. I'm trying to get. That's going to be like one of my goals in this new year is to really get this platform up and these platforms up and going like strongly. I'm going to be roping
Yeah.
in my son who does digital marketing. So he's been
Oh,
actually
perfect.
helping me quite a bit with some of my stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then, one last message that you have for the community as we enter 2023. Do you have a message for everybody?
I'm sorry. Say that again. I had a hard time hearing you because my dogs were barking. My
Oh,
bad.
sorry. If you have a message to share with the community, as we enter 2023, an empowering message, for them to get their year started.
Every day is an opportunity, right? People make all these things about a new year and a new time. I'm not really big on kind of like creating those resolutions, but I say, every day, every moment. Sometimes you have to take things day by day, and sometimes you have to take things moment by moment.
Mhm.
Every day is an opportunity for you. Every moment is an opportunity for you. You don't need to wait for a new month, a new week, a new year, because every day is an opportunity. And celebrate your victories, no matter how small they are. No matter if there's nobody cheering for you, cheer yourself, clap for yourself. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
only you know what you've been through. Only you know what your struggle is. Only you know really what your situation is. Only you know what you cry in your pillow at night, kind of thing. So
Mhm.
celebrate those things and clap for yourself, even if nobody claps for you. Embrace the challenges for what they are, and take those challenges to be opportunities to learn, and then you heal and you grow. That's it. That's my thing, is to learn, heal, and grow. And
Love
so
it.
take this
Learn,
new
heal,
year.
grow, you guys.
Yeah. So take this opportunity to learn, heal, and grow every moment of the day.
I love it. Thank you so much. Well, this has been a wonderful interview. Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
I was looking forward to this so much.
I appreciate it. I
I'm
appreciate
so
it.
excited. I support you 1,000% on everything that
Thank
you're
you.
doing. And thank you so much for representing Latinas, minorities, women. I mean, and you embrace and you celebrate and you represent
Hmm.
so much. And the word inclusion, I feel like your picture should be right next to it in the
Thank you. I
dictionary.
appreciate that. I really do.
So I just want to say thank you for everything that you do. And thank you for coming on Empowerment Live.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for having me. Keep on the glow up. Keep it up, girl. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching Empowerment Live. And don't forget to watch next episode every Monday at 7 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much.